You're listening to a podcast from 702 and Cape Talk.
But for now, I'm going to be speaking to Karen Moss, and she is the founder of STEPS. And they are 10 years old this year, in July. Karen, thank you very much for joining us here on Talk at 9.
Hi, Aubrey. Thanks for having me.
Much appreciated. STEPS is 10 years old. What started STEPS?
Well, STEPS started because my own son was born with clubfoot in 2003, and having discovered that there was an alternative method that hadn't reached South Africa, and was actually over 50 years old. It wasn't only South Africa it hadn't reached many places yet. But we kind of lucked out because the turnaround was about to start through the internet, that people were finding out more about this method. And after I had been to America and had my son successfully treated, I started STEPS so that I could bring the method to Southern Africa, particularly South Africa, where I live.
And of course, I know that you're operating in South Africa, in Namibia, in Botswana, I believe, huh?
Yes, that's right. That was a more recent development. After we were very successful in getting a partnership agreement with an American organization that gave us some funding, and that was at the end of 2012. And I had for a long time wanted to introduce the method into Botswana and Namibia because I had many requests from parents looking for help, and it was difficult for them to access treatment in South Africa because obviously through public health, only South African nationals can be treated, and they couldn't afford to go to a private doctor. So once we had funding, we then approached the two governments, Botswana and Namibia, and set up a collaboration with them where we used their facilities, but we help them to build up skills and train people. And there's now 3 clinics operating in Namibia, and one and a second one about to open in Botswana, which has obviously been a huge help to their population.
Yeah. Just for those of us who don't understand the condition of clubfoot, what is that?
Well, clubfoot is something that occurs while the baby is still developing in the mother's womb. So it's a birth defect which the baby is born with. And what a clubfoot is the foot does not develop properly, or the foot does, but the actual muscles coming and tendons cause the foot to turn over. So by the time the baby's born, the foot is actually almost upside down and twisted into the body. So if it's not corrected, you have to literally walk on the top of your feet. And I'm sure there's people that have seen people in rural areas walking exactly like this, and the bottom of their feet actually the top of their feet becomes the bottom of their feet. They develop calluses. And obviously, it's not a very easy way to walk.
Of course. And I believe that you have reached almost 9,000 children with a particular treatment that you've come up with. Tell us about that.
Yes, over the last 10 years, we estimate between 1,800 and 2,000 children are born every year with clubfoot. And as the method has grown, from the first training we gave in 2006, the doctors received the treatment and decided to change their treatment. They were incredibly enthusiastic about it. And gradually clinics have opened, and there's far less surgery being done on children and more of this method, which is less invasive and has a far more less damaging long-term result. You actually have a fully functional, flexible foot after this, so there's no after-surgery effects.
Tell me about this new therapy, this new way of dealing with clubfoot.
Well, the man that developed it was named after him. His name is Dr. Ponseti, and he, in the 1950s, started to do research because at that time, clubfoot surgery had become very popular. So he started to research, on long-term effects after surgery, and he discovered that there was quite a lot of people that were having problems post-surgery because of scar tissue and the foot not developing properly, and they had even had early onset arthritis and pain in their legs and feet. And he then studied the anatomy of the foot and developed a new way of treating clubfoot, which wasn't radically different from the old way. It was literally just understanding better how the foot and ankle work together and where to hold your fingers. And what actually happens in the method is you have a serial casting, which means that every week a plaster is applied to the foot all the way up to the top of the leg in a specific position. A week later, the cast is removed and another one is applied. And if you get a baby young enough, this is part of our campaign, is to reach as many people as possible to tell them that clubfoot can be treated.
Sure.
The younger the baby, the better the results and the faster the results. Within 1 to 2 months, that foot will be straight. And what happens then is the child goes into a maintenance period, which is wearing boots and bar attached together, a pair of shoes with a bar in between, which is like a brace that you wear to stop the foot from turning in again. Because once the foot is straight, many people think, well, now it's fixed, but it's actually not, because the foot has a tendency to turn in again.
I'm glad to hear, Karen, that it is not just an issue or a condition that is only amongst the poor. I mean, you speak of the fact that your own son suffered from the condition.
Yes.
What infrastructure is out there now?
Well, what has happened is when I first found out a bit about the method and I was starting to talk to doctors, obviously the private doctors were interested and they started looking at it, but I was more interested in reaching the rural doctors, and particularly RUDASA, which is the Rural Doctors Association.
Yeah.
They were invited to our first training, and also working with academic hospitals and training hospitals to try and get, because obviously a large portion of our population doesn't have private health care, and we do offer, in South Africa, free treatment for children under the age of 5. So there's a great opportunity to be able to teach these new students and the existing people how to treat clubfoot in this way, because the results would be so much better and we could reach a large portion of the population. In fact, South Africa has a higher incidence of clubfoot than the world average. We don't know why, because no one has yet pinpointed exactly what causes clubfoot. It is definitely genetic and environmental, but no one really knows. They've been doing tests in various countries and they're still not quite sure. But we do have a higher incidence based on data that's been done by surgeons over the years.
Tell me about your campaign, Step Up for Steps.
Yes, we like the play on words. And really what it's about is we came up with the concept of my clubfoot story. So when, having been the mother of a child born with clubfoot, he was born in a private clinic. In fact, all of the midwives didn't even know what a clubfoot was. They asked me what was wrong with my child's feet. And I realized then that there's a lot of not ignorance around what clubfoot is and what the condition is about and how it's treated. So one of my biggest goals has been to build a clubfoot community where clubfoot doesn't have a stigma, where people can talk about it openly to each other, and where people can share their stories, because those stories can inspire other people and make them feel, that they're not alone. And that is what this campaign is about. It's to celebrate our birthday, but by actually including the people that for us are the most important, is the patients and their families. And that's why we've asked everybody to share their clubfoot story, and we've actually had an amazing response so far. What we've decided to do is, once the campaign's over, we will have exhibits in some of the clinics that we work in so that we can show the pictures that the kids have drawn and photographs about their story, and obviously from the parents as well.
And this is obviously happening in the month of July, which is your 10th anniversary, your 10th year anniversary, right?
Yes, it is. And we realized that actually STEPS was registered in the same month of Madiba's birthday, so we actually coincide with Mandela Day. And because of the nature of the work that we do, we don't really need a lot of volunteers. We don't need anyone to paint anything, to do anything like that, really.
Yeah.
So we thought, why not use Mandela Day as a platform for us to encourage people to share their stories, which is a way of giving back. And our goal is to try and get 67 stories, and we're also trying to raise some money so we can help 10 kids to get full treatment, which is on a page linked to BackaBuddy, which is a fundraising platform. And, we're hoping that out of this campaign, 10 more children will have the gift of being able to walk and play and run like other kids. Those kids will be in rural areas.
Sure. Step Up for Steps is the campaign that Karen Moss, founder of STEPS, is undertaking in this month. They are 10 years old. Karen, how do people get in touch with you if they do want to tell their stories? And perhaps they might want to support you in some way or another. How do they get in touch with you?
Right. Well, we've got a Facebook page, but I think the easiest is to go either to our website, which is www.steps.org.za, or they can email me, which is karen@steps.org.za, or they can use the hashtag StepUpForSTEPS and we will find them. And we're also on Twitter and Instagram, and there's quite a lot of links around it on our website, which will give them a lot of information on how to get in touch with us. And if they want to call our office, the number's 021 462 7357.
Karen Moss, thank you very much for joining us here on Talk at 9. Great work you guys are doing, and I'm hoping that you will get those 67 stories as you push the campaign for Step Up for Steps. Thank you very